So you're doing this website design and development project and develop this awesome UI and get it approved, and the project moves on, content gets added, and now your design system breaks. This is exactly what happened to me on a recent project. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what changed, what broke, and what I'm going to do to fix this problem. Let's jump over and show you the first design really quick. So here is our resource page for a project that we are working on. They are a community nonprofit organization that has different program areas, and this is going to be the resource page. As you see, there would be an all resources tab at the top, and then there are toggles here. So we are in their program area of falls prevention, and then this is a sort of an accordion type section where you can add resources. Now, this was really good in theory. It looks beautiful in design, and I love how it looks. So once we started thinking about how the actual clients would manage this website, they would have to go into Elementor and actually edit this tabs layout with nested accordions, and then they have 4 different colors for the different program areas. So maybe they would have to repeat colors if they have more than different, 4 sections of resources for that program area. And just overall thinking about the management and the usability of this, it just seemed like this was not the right solution. So what we went to is a more kind of typical resource section, a card-based layout. And then we figured there's going to be 4 types of resources that would live within this database: documents, phone numbers, links, and then videos. And so with those 4, we figured we have iconography to show what kind of content that is. Additionally, the buttons would change for this, and this is the layout that we ended up with. So as you can see, it's not that bad. You can filter by program area, you can filter by resource type. That's done with relevancy and search and filter. And what we did, since we took the tab layout out of it and they are now not automatically filtered by program area, we have these little pill cards which tell you which program area they belong to. We added these pills into the resource card itself, and the resource card just contained the iconography for what type of content it is, the title of that resource, the program area it pertains to, because some program or some resources will pertain to multiple program areas, and then we just had the button, which is conditional depending on the type of content that we did that. We did this with the dynamic conditions plugin. You could hard code it as well. So I'll show you the back end really quick of what that looks like. So here we have the 4 different icons that are possible to show, which are triggered by a taxonomy within the ACF database. Then next we have the heading, which will display under that. Then we had the pill cards here, and then we have the 4 button types, which are again conditional to the content type of resource that is. Next, what we ended up adding is we realized some of these resources needed a description to help describe them. For example, one of these numbers in here, I don't remember off the top of my head, you can actually text that number to get help from that. Now, clicking this would automatically trigger, if I'm on my MacBook, like a call, or if you're on your phone, it would actually trigger a call. So what we wanted to do is add that descriptor to help the user understand other actions that can be taken place, or just clarify that resource that they're going to be clicking on. Because we didn't start with this layout, we sort of threw this together without having our design system or thinking in place with this element of the website. And what ended up happening is you have this kind of all over mess where the hierarchy is kind of messed up. The pills really draw your attention and you don't know where you should look. I almost look there rather than the title itself. Then adding the description, and then the buttons that they're at the bottom. It's just kind of all over the place, messy at the top. So we wanted to actually redesign this section. Here is an example of what the old section looks like. As you see, you have the different program areas that are color coded. Since they're very colorful branding, we actually have to change the text for accessibility, and actually some of these don't even necessarily pass accessibility at the size. So what we actually wanted to do was redesign this section into a better UI that is easier to scan and understand. What we actually first did is put the icon and the title right next to each other so they complement each other. Now I know that they go with one another. Next, what we did is actually add that description text right under that title and icon and actually lowered the opacity of it so it has less impact. We played around with actually changing the size of all of the font to keeping it all the same and just using weight to differentiate it. But we figured the title still needed to have more weight in size than this description text, because not all of them will have description text. Next, what we did is add the pill tags back, and we actually changed the styling of those. We have a washed out version of all the branding colors that we used in a few places on the site that you actually saw in the original accordion resource section. And so we made the background of the pills that washed out version, and then made this text inside of it the 68% opacity text that the description text is. And this actually passes AAA accessibility for us. And then last but not least, we made sure that that button is now at the bottom, so it is still there to signify that this is a call to action. What this did, it actually changed around the hierarchy, so it's a lot easier on the eyes, and overall it's just a cleaner looking and less jarring card to look at that should be better for users to work on. So I'm actually gonna hop over in Elementor and actually develop this really quick. Should be pretty simple, and then we will have a better working resource section for our users to go through. These are the type of problems a lot of projects go through, and this is the type of work that goes into a web design and development project. It's not always super pretty, it doesn't always go the way of the development. Yeah, things like this could have been caught earlier through maybe better discussions and meetings, but that's not always the case, and this is sometimes things that you need to do. It's actually just step back, go back to the drawing board, and develop something that works for the users who will be visiting your website.